my dad literally just came home one day and said, I'm packing up, I'm leaving, I'm selling the house, and I'm going. I didn't know where I was going or what. My dad gave me $500, and he pretty much said, good luck to a 13-year-old kid.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
Photos.
True Hustle Podcast, episode 25 with none only than Noel G. What's up, brother?
What up, player? Chilling, man. Thanks for having me, dog. Much love.
Man, well, thank you for being here, man.
Nah, it's love, G. It's love. It's all love, man.
So I know that earlier we were talking about stress. And did you learn how to deal with stressful situations at a young age? Because I know you've been through some stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, wisdom comes with experience, you know what I mean? So for me, it was a lot of experiences that taught me, right from wrong and how to deal with certain things that go on in my life and certain things that I should care about and not care about. So through my experiences in life and situations that I've been through, I've learned to care less. But when I say care less, it's care less about what I don't need to care about. And I know that everything happens, where it's like if you... For example, if you have something that is priority over something that's not really priority, focus your attention on that. But whenever it's scheduled and it's time to take care of that, that's when you'll deal with it and you'll handle it. Until then, don't worry about it. So I just learned how to not stress and not really care much because I care, but I don't care, but I care, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way that I do it. You know what I'm saying? That way it keeps me from not stressing, because stress can age you. It can ruin your health. It can get you sick. It can do all kinds of things to you that you, might not be happy about later.
Shit. Stress is a silent killer, right?
Exactly.
You don't know what it's doing to you, but it's doing some shit. It's doing something.
Right. It ages you quick, man. Before you know it, you are 30 and you look like 60. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'm 40, I look 20, so that means I'm handling stress pretty well.
Yeah, you got no grays, brother. You good. I got some grays, bro.
None yet. I see I'm creeping in.
I tell people one thing you can't beat is age. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't beat that. But, yeah, you could do your best to preserve it as much as you can as you move along.
Yeah. And I agree with that, absolutely.
And by not 100%. stressing, that's one of the key ways to preserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you were growing up, I seen some of your interviews. Your parents left when you were 13.
Right.
And I was trying to process that when I was watching it. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like, did they just up and leave? Or like, I was trying to process it, but I'm like, man, I need to get into
You
that.
gotta get into the yeah. So it's kind of crazy because they did just up and leave, but I don't blame my mom. I don't blame my mom at all. My mom, it's part I never really get to talk about on some podcasts, but or interviews or whatever. But long story short, my mom, she fought for my dad to stay. I call it the 2 weeks of hell. When my dad came home with this decision, if I'm leaving. He had a best friend who was a millionaire, and their hobby on the side was scuba diving, and they were fishermen. They were part of a boat club. Mm-hmm. And my dad met him through the company that he worked at. My dad was the supervisor, and this guy was the owner of the company. He was a multimillionaire, just balling out of control. And as crazy as it sounds, no made-up story, though, he owned a yacht. And he asked my dad, do you want to go sailing around the world with me on this yacht? But if you come with me, you can't bring your kid with you. So my dad literally just came home one day and said, I'm packing up, I'm leaving, I'm selling the house, and I'm going. Just like that. Just night and day, black and white, from Monday to Tuesday, switched on a dime, just like a light switch, done, just like that. So when you say up and leave, yeah, but I don't blame my mom for nothing, because when that happened, my mom, I call it the 2 weeks of hell, she begged, pleaded, cried, kicked and screamed, and was fighting for my dad to stay. She was like, what kind of man are you? Who have you become? What are you doing? I heard it. I'm in my bedroom, because I didn't grow up poor. I grew up in a middle-class home. First 13 years of my life, I had a good upbringing. I had a middle-class home. I had, my room, food on the table, clothes in my closet, a place to shower, eat, and sleep. And what ended up happening, long story short, was my mom was kicking and screaming, fighting, telling my dad, like, don't leave. What are you doing? Like, what kind of man did I marry? And all this stuff. And she was crying and hugging me, and she couldn't believe what was happening. She was like in disbelief of how this man went from this to that on a dime once again. And finally, when I saw my mom fighting for me so strong, I came to my mom and I said, Mom, I said, go with my dad. I said, I got a place to live. I go, a friend of mine's going to let me move in his house and their family's going to keep me. I go, so don't worry about it. I said, go, because I love my mom very much. My mom, tooth and nail, was always there for me in you know, tough situations and so on. So I told my mom, I said, just go with my dad. I'm okay. I got a place to stay. And so I never blamed my mom for leaving, you know, because if my mom would have stayed, my dad was the breadwinner. I'm just keeping it honest with you. If my mom would have stayed, it would have been 2 homeless people instead of 1. So I just told my mom, I said, go with my dad. Don't worry about it. So she went. So I never blamed her. I never, you know, I did it for her. But my mom was just distraught, was the word.
Damn.
So yeah, it was a tough time.
And you were how old?
I was 13.
Okay. So at 13, from Monday to Tuesday, they say.
It took 2 weeks first. So he packed up a lot of the stuff, put it in storage, gave a lot of stuff away, ended up selling the house or whatever. So when they left, it was the funniest thing. I didn't know where I was going or what. My dad gave me $500, and he pretty much said, good luck to a 13-year-old kid. What people have to understand, too, though, is that my mom and my dad were the only 2 from their families to move to the United States. So my mom is from Mexico, Guadalajara, and my dad is from Italy. So they met each other somehow, some way. I don't even know the real story, and you know, I regret not asking that question because my mom passed away now about 4 years ago. It's kind of recent.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But long story short, they were the only 2 from their families to move to the United States for the American dream or whatever you want to call it. And so I never in my life met my mom's side of the family or my dad's side of the family. So I literally have no cousins, nieces, nephew, brother, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, nothing. I have nothing. I'm by myself with my kid, and that's it now. So long story short, when they left, I had no family to call. I had no one to turn to, nothing. My dad pretty much gave me $500 and said, good luck. So when they left, I remember I was once living in this house, middle-class home. I was sneaking into the house that was once furnished, now has nothing but carpet in there, and I was sleeping in my room because I used to sneak out when they did live there, and I knew how to get in through the bathroom window or the sliding glass door. You just lift it up and whatever. And long story short, I remember I would sleep in my room just on the carpet, just like that, in a house that had nothing but carpet. And yeah, it was crazy. And I was doing that for about, I don't know, I want to say maybe 2-3 months. I don't really remember an exact, but I remember one day I snuck in and there was a phone connected in the kitchen, and I picked up the phone and there was a dial tone, and I said, crap, someone lives here. And that's where my real journey started. So yeah, but then I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, started meeting the homies in the neighborhood, felt like part of a family, and started gangbanging, doing all that stupid stuff. And that's kind of where everything happened.
Wow.
So yeah.
So at 13, they just say, here you go. And when they were gone, there was no communication? You didn't communicate with them at all?
I didn't communicate with none of them at all because they were on a boat, so I had no way to write them. I had no way to stay in touch, no. And my mom didn't know where to call me or nothing. The way my mom found me is when I was 19 years old. The first time I saw my mom is when I was locked up in jail, and I got a visit because my mom didn't know what to do. So when she left the boat, she came back, and she just went to the police and, oh, your son's locked up. And I remember I was in Orange County jail. I get a call, you got a visit. And the first time I saw my mom was in 5 years or 4 years, 5 years, well, 13 to 19 behind the glass.
And that was the first time you've seen her since you were gone?
Yeah.
I mean, since they left on this boat?
Yeah.
And
my mom.
And did you feel some type of like animosity or was it like
towards
anger?
Not towards my mom once again because I told her to leave. So no anger, no animosity. No, I was so happy to see her that when I got out, just took her back into my life, and that was that. Because once again, I don't blame her at all. It was not her fault. I told her to leave, et cetera, et cetera.
And where was your dad at? She came back, but where was he? He stayed there?
Yeah, he was on the boat still doing his thing. And then eventually he moved. He's in Corsica now.
And how's your relationship with him now?
The last time I seen my dad was maybe like 4 years ago. I haven't seen my dad from the age of 13 years old up to, I'm 48 now, I haven't seen him from 13 years old to 43. The first time I saw my dad is when I was 43 years old because my mom knew that she was going to pass away and she was fighting cancer. And one of her goals before she passed away was to reunite me and my dad. She pulled a rabbit out of the hat. I don't know how she did it. I was 43 years old, and the first time I ever saw my dad was actually about 4 or 5 years ago, was at my doorstep of my house. Just my mom just brought him on his own like that, and he came in, and I ain't gonna lie, you know, when I was younger, and had anger in my heart, was thinking stupid, et cetera, et cetera. The first thing I want to do was beat him up and cuss him out. You know, that was my first reaction. But as I grew older and gained wisdom, I wanted to forgive him and I wanted to understand why he did what he did. So when he came and I saw him for the first time, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna front. You know, I cried. I was like, I can't believe you're at my doorstep, whatever. We had our long conversation, and I wanted to come from a place of understanding as a place of anger and attack him and cuss him out, because that was my first initial. If I would have saw him when I was younger, I don't know what would I might have killed him. I know he would have got hurt, I'll tell you that much. But, as you grow up, you hopefully you wise up, right?
Yeah.
But long story short, I wanted to come from a place of understanding, so I talked to him, and I told him straight out, I said, I forgive you. And I said, I just have one question. I just want to understand why you did what you did. And, that was pretty much it. So, yeah.
I have that same question. When I was watching you on YouTube, and I'm like, I want to know the thought process behind why he did it. And that's why I wanted to ask you this question in person. Like, did he explain it to you? Did he tell you, look, this is what I was going through? I was going through some things, or he just said,
he was
fuck it.
he was just an unhappy, grumpy man. He always felt like he just did nothing but work his whole life, and so he felt like he was getting older and he needed some time to do something for himself, have some fun, because his life has been nothing but work. My dad was a carpenter, so he used to build houses, and you work very hard when you're a carpenter. He used to build tables and chairs and cabinets and all that. And that's all he did his whole life, even from when he was a kid. And my dad was always just an angry man. You know what I'm saying? So he was just always an angry. And I even remember the first 13 years that I did have him in my life, he was a good father financially, but not emotionally. And, I think he was just an angry man. So he just said he just got to a point in his life where he snapped and didn't care, wasn't thinking straight, and he just, bounced out and, whatever with everyone else, just did his thing for himself, selfishness. And so, like I said, he regrets it. He did apologize and said, I'm so sorry. And, we hugged and forgave each other. And now it's like whatever now, you know what I mean? It's like he's living his life, I'm living my life. We don't even communicate no more. I haven't talked to him. The last time I talked to him is actually when my mom passed away. He sent me an email to tell me, your mom is no longer with us. So that was the last time that we talked, was 4 years ago. So I know where he's at. He knows where I'm at, and we're able to reach each other. There was a relationship that was starting to develop a little bit, but it was when my mom was alive. But when she passed away, it kind of changed things. And so now we don't, he's living his life, I'm living my life, and it's whatever. But because I haven't had him in my life for so long, I just, it's like I'm trying, but it's, you know what I mean? Like, what can you really do? Now I got my own situation going on.
But you forgave him in your heart. You have any type of
I forgive
anger,
him,
or sometimes you just gotta
you gotta learn how to forgive. If you don't learn how to forgive, man, it can eat you up from the inside out, and it can kill you. And God says forgive all, not just one. You know what I mean? Forgive all. So you got to forgive the people that you don't even want to forgive. It doesn't mean that you have to hang out with them or associate with them anymore or any of that stuff. But you need to forgive them and let them know that they're forgiven, and then after that, you could wipe your hands clean and do you and let them do them.
You think that at a young age, it's very difficult. to learn how to forgive people and just move on?
Oh,
Do you
of
think it
course.
comes with age and wisdom?
Well, that's said for different people. I think everyone's an individual case. You know what I'm saying? Because some people wise up younger and some people wise up older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think everyone's an individual case, but you would hope, that's why even in God's word, it says that you're better off sinning without the knowledge of God. Because once you have the knowledge of right from wrong at whatever age that reaches you at, and you know wrong, but you still do it, then that's when you're, in the danger zone because you knew better. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's an individual case. So that's why I think, some people, they just got to learn through a tough experience. They got to learn through a situation that they had themselves. They got to, learn on their own eventually. And you would hope that that happens sooner than later for every individual, but some are just, that ignorant and not right in the head that, one learns at 13, but the other one, it took until they were 30 to learn it. You know what I mean? So be it.
Yeah, you're right about that. So let's go back to when you were 13. So they leave. As a 13-year-old, how do you process what's going on? And so now you became independent. Like you had everything, a house, a family, your own room.
I had a little dog, I had a goldfish in the corner, like things were cool.
Goldfish, all that, dude.
I had a Chinese fighter fish, not a goldfish, bro.
Then from Monday to Tuesday, all that shit is gone.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, you just live how you live. And I think at that time, all I was thinking about is how am I going to eat and where am I going to sleep and what I'm going to do. You like survival mode kicks in, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, I was going to a continuation school and, I met homie from the hood and he started G'ing me up, because I ain't going to lie, man. I was never a dorky kid, but I was real ugly when I was younger. I had a full head of hair and I had a real bad acne problem. So I used to get picked on a lot. And so I used to fight a lot, defending myself. So I was never like a dorky kid. I was just an ugly kid. So I got picked on a lot because of that, to keep it 100. And I think it's funny, sometimes I'm like, all the kids that were ugly in high school ended up being good looking, and all the ones that were good looking ended up being, am I lying, bro? It's weird, right?
I was ugly as fuck, too.
It's just funny,
I had a bunch of acne. You know what? One of my fucking teachers would make fun of me. He used to call me Clearasil. Like, you need Clearasil, motherfucker. I'll beat his ass. Mr. Gergis, motherfucker. So I kind of. Are you
watching Mr. Gergis?
Mr. Gergis, you asshole. So I'm like,
that's hilarious.
So I kind of could relate. I'm
right.
My own teacher was picking on me.
That's funny, bro. That's funny, dog.
So okay.
So yeah, just to fast forward. I ain't tripping, bro. Long story short, I met this homie from the hood, and he G'd me up, started teaching me how to rob cars and sell drugs and rob houses, and told me, hey, shave your head, bro, and this, that, and the other, and I just started, and then what you start doing, you start becoming, and then that's what ended up happening. So yeah, and I was just that's how I was buying food, and I used to live off it's funny, I used to live off of breadsticks at the Olive Garden. That was my main. I used to get the 6 breadsticks for $1.12. I still remember it to this day. And that's what I lived off for a long time, bro. And then 26 cents cheeseburgers on Tuesday at McDonald's. I was all over it.
Bro, you just brought me back some memories, bro.
Yeah, bro. So
29 cents, we'll get a whole fucking bag full.
Right. I've been there, done that. You know what I mean? So that was my life for a long time. I still eat McDonald's just to get it straight. I love a cheeseburger but that was, you just survival mode kicks in and you just learn how to, figure it out. You know what I mean?
And I think some of us growing up, we do shit just because we want to be cool. We trying to fit in with certain crowds and we do kid shit, right?
Right.
But the things you were doing, it was survival mode because you didn't have that, your parents to provide for you anymore.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So yeah, once I started learning some street ways, We started making money, and then that's how I would buy my food, and a lot of money was just in my pocket, and that was it, and I'm rolling. Let's go. I did stay at some friends' houses from time to time. I would, do the couch tour, but there were some families, quote unquote, that took me in. But here's the truth, when you're not paying the bills at someone's house, your welcome is going to run out eventually. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. I went from friend's house to friend's house to friend's house. I slept in laundromats. I slept in donut stores. I slept in parks. There was times I didn't have a place to sleep. I used to shower at the beach. Like, I did it all, bro. I've been there, done that. Man. For 2 years straight. From 13 to 15, I was in a zone.
I ran away once at 15, and I'm trying to process, what you just said. And I ran away for like a month and a half, but I was in the streets. I was living with one of my friends, and I got homesick after like a month.
But you had fun though, right?
Yeah, we were doing a bunch of stupid ass shit.
Yeah, we were young and dumb, bro.
I was 15, but it's after a month and a half, I'm like, man, I had enough of these Pop Pockets, homie. I'm like, I need to go eat some real food.
Right. You want some of mom's home cooking.
Yes, but I had that option, and it's like you didn't. So did things just progress, and get bad? Like, because you said you were robbing, you were hanging out with the homies in the hood. Did things started progressing?
Oh, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Of course. You start small, and then you start getting bigger and bigger once you figure out your own little way in it. And then, it got worse and worse and worse to where finally I got locked up and then ended up in some serious situation. I'm not saying I was the craziest in the streets. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just saying, been there, done that. I was facing 20 years for attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and that was my wake-up call. So I got ratted out by someone else that we, did a number on, and I didn't even get arrested for it till like 7 months after. And the detectives came in like SWAT, bro, to my house, took me in. I didn't even know what I was in jail for because it happened 7 months after. And they got me, and they said, you're looking at 20 years, second strike, attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and that was my wake-up call. So I was in jail for like a year because I didn't have money for bail at that time, fighting the case. And luckily, by the grace of God, they dropped the case. I got released. But so I've been there. Again, I'm not saying I was the craziest in the streets, none of that stuff. I'm just saying been there, done that. And but sometimes you need a hard fall like that to wake you up, to make you realize, like, no, this ain't the life. Like, I don't care how tough you are, how tatted up you are, how gangster you think you are. Like, this is how I tell people: if I'm a nerd and a dork because I want freedom and a family, I'd rather be a nerd and a dork with freedom and a family than a tough guy in a 2-man cell.
That's bars right there. That's 1,000% correct. I agree with that.
So that's how I tell people, bro. So I don't care. You call me what you want. As long as I got freedom and a family, I'll take whatever title you give me. You could be the tough man in a 2-man cell and enjoy your life.
I think as you get older, being a tough guy, all that shit gets overrated. I mean, it's overrated. Like, bro, there's nothing like being home, doing what you want, eating what you want, and doing what you want, and being with your family.
And you forgot when you want.
When you want.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be fucking in a cell like, hey, bro, it's my turn. Share a shitter.
When we were younger, we thought that was like, well, again, again, you really learn in your life. Well, you would hope people learn in their life as they go on, wisdom and et cetera, as they get older. But everyone's an individual case, you know what I'm saying? But I think it would be fair to say a lot of us at the time when we were younger, thought it was a title to be hardcore and be like the most downest in the street, and that's how we wanted to live and et cetera. So, it was like, at first, if you did some time, like, you're really about it because you did some time. But, you don't know who's about what until you know the individual. And that's what I'm stuck on. I'm stuck on this new thing right now where I tell people like this: unless you know someone personally or were involved in the situation personally, you really don't know a damn thing. everyone's arguing about air and, whatever is on Front Street. Unless you know someone personally or were involved in the situation personally, you don't know a damn thing about that person or the situation, period.
That's true.
So what I thank people for now, sometimes when I hear people talk, like I don't even care about podcasts or interviews or anything. When I hear people talk, sometimes it's funny because, I call it Hollywood. Sometimes I see people doing their interviews and stuff, and I trip out because I'm like, man, I know you personally because of the quote unquote perks that I get, being able to see a lot of the behind the scenes. I'm like, damn, man, you ain't even nothing how you're talking, on the podcast. Like, you're fake as hell, bro, or whatever. So I trip out, So what I thank people for now when I watch podcasts and interviews, because I don't know them personally, I say thank you for saying the right thing, because I don't know them personally to know if they really mean what they're saying, And you know how people are sometimes. Like when they set up stuff, you got to play victim. But it's like, man, you're the whole reason why this is happening. You're the one who caused it, and now you want to play victim, but I don't know until I know you personally or was involved in the situation personally to personally know what's real and what's not anymore. So now whenever I watch people do an interview or a podcast or something like that, because I don't know them personally, what I say thank you for is I just go, thank you for saying the right words, because I don't really know if they're about it or not in real life.
Because everything gets manipulated now, right? Especially with this new day and age, social media stuff. People go on there and say, and that shit happens across the board. Like even in my industry.
It could be in anything, yeah.
And bro, I'm just like, I know, I do real estate.
It could be a Walmart, Target. It could be in whatever, you know, hospital, whatever. Like I get it, yeah, anything, yeah. And again, that's why I go back to everyone is an individual case.
Yeah.
And until you know them personally, you don't know a damn thing. Everyone's arguing over air, and that's why, our government and everything that's going on it's all smoke screens, but they got to play, victim. Like I'll give you one example. Like when COVID hit, for example, a lot of the Disney stores were shutting down, but I don't know if you knew Disney was a part of COVID, but they got to play victim. Like, oh, well, COVID is affecting us too, and we have to close down some of our stores. Man, shut the hell up. You're part of it behind it. So, but you got to look like I'm affected too. Because you imagine if the bad guy came out and just said, hey, I'm the reason for COVID. I'm the reason for this, that, and the other, and I want everybody dead. You would know who to attack and kill to stop it.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
I think shit was crazy with that.
Yeah.
Like
so
the whole COVID thing, there was a lot of shit going on.
I'll tell you what I loved about COVID, though, man, to be real, is that a lot of true colors came out in people. People that you thought you knew, you're like, damn, I didn't really know you, but now I know you. You know what I mean? So
they just came out of nowhere, huh? Fucking swinging.
When someone's life is on the line, yeah, I met a friend of mine, and this is so true. I don't want to meet someone when they're at their best. I want to meet someone when they're at their worst, because that's when you know the real them.
That's bars right there. You're right. Because anybody could say, if you're fucking feeling high and mighty at your best,
that's why I said
your true colors don't come out till you fucking hit rock bottom, and then you start sowing shit that you're like, hey, you were like this 3 months ago. Like, who the fuck is this person?
Right. That's why I said, unless you know them personally or were involved personally, you don't know anything until you know.
Crazy. So once you were still in the streets, you were still doing your thing, survival mode, how did acting come about?
So when I was 15 years old, that's 2 years later after all that, whatever. And I was still acting a fool even at 15. But when I was 15, I met this girl. And this girl asked me one day, she said, how come you always wear the same clothes, or I never seen where you live? And I ain't gonna front, I ain't gonna lie. I broke down, I started crying. I told her straight up my situation. I said, I'm homeless, my parents left me, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, all right. So she took me to her dad's house. And I met the dad, and her dad was a pastor for a church. And he heard my story. And he goes, you can live in this house, but if you live here, you gotta hear the word of God. He goes, we're a family who serves God. And I was like, homie, I hear the word of anything. I just want a roof. You know what I mean? I didn't care what was what. I was like, take me in, let's go. So I started living with this family. And long story short, it was her dream. She wanted to be an actress. She wanted to be a model. She wanted the Hollywood deal. I could care less anything about it. So one day she took me to an acting class. And I go with her to this acting class. And I used to, like, I ain't gonna front, man. I used to kiss her butt because I always thought that if I got her mad, she would run to dad and have me kicked out of the house. And I was so happy to have a roof over my head that I just did whatever it is she said so I could continue living in a home. Mm-hmm. So long story short, I go with her to this acting class, and I wasn't thinking about none of this at the time. You know, I'm still banging and acting a fool, right? Just trying to live. And I didn't even think I was worthy enough of having any type of career. And I didn't set a goal for myself, nothing. Again, I was just trying to live and eat, right? So I'm in this acting class. I kid you not, this is a dream come true. It's no fairy tale. No, I can't even make this up, right? Right place, right time. Never thought about acting a day in my life. I go with her to this acting class. It was like winning the lottery, straight up, straight out. I go with her to this acting class. But when I walked in, just keeping it real, I thought everybody was dorks and nerds. So I started talking smack because I could care less about being up in this class, right? And right place, right time story. Doesn't get any better than this. A producer was sitting in class that day who was scouting talent. The reason why he went to the acting class was to find talent. So because I was talking smack and acting a fool, he comes up to me after the class and he goes, "You're funny." He goes, "You want to be in a Taco Bell commercial?" And I was like, "What?" I thought he was on some BS. I gave him my number, thought he was fake. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." It ended up being real. 2 weeks later, I'm on a Taco Bell commercial for the Superfish tacos at the age of 15 years old. And I did this commercial, and I didn't know this at the time, but the way they pay you for commercials is every time the commercial's shown, you get a check. And I didn't know that. It's residual income, right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is if they show the commercial 15 times in one day, that's 15 checks. You feel what I'm saying? So I didn't know this, you know. I'm 15. What do I know, right? I thought it was like you got to work to get paid, work to get paid, work to get paid. I didn't know, right? So long story short, fast forward, I do the commercial, start getting all these checks. I thought it was a computer mess up, but
I was a glitch.
I thought it was a glitch, homie. I thought it was like I'm in the Matrix, right? But, you know, I'm cashing the checks because I had my story for court. They kept on paying me. I didn't know. You know what I mean? I really thought I was breaking the law.
I thought I was that good.
That's what I thought, right? Exactly.
Send them, homie.
All day long. I went from nothing to bling bling overnight, right?
Shit.
So I called up the dude when it got kind of funny because they were coming in for a while. So I said, "Hey, you know, I got to call you." And I said, "Why I keep on getting these checks?" And he explained it to me. He goes, "Oh, no, that's, you know," he told me how it works. He goes, "That's how actors get paid." I said, "What?" I said, "Well, I want to be an actor."
Shit.
And that's how I became an actor, bro. So he liked me. He hooked me up with a manager friend of his. I go meet the manager, dude, and I walk in like this. I don't know nothing from nothing. And the dude was like, "I like you, man. I'm going to see what I can do for you." But everything he started sending me out on was gangster parts. It was like Gangster 1, Cholo 2, Trigger. I was like, what? I thought I was here to act, man. I grew up like this in real life. So I started developing this bad guy Latino, reputation, and that's how it started.
Shit. So from your first was the Taco Bell commercial, right? At 15. What after that? What was your biggest role? The first one?
It took me 8 years to get my first movie. 8 years. So it was no walk in the park. It was no duck walk. What I was doing at the time, I was doing a couple TV shows, very minor parts. I had like 1 or 2 lines. And I was doing a lot of industrial stuff. So like, for example, if you get hired at Burger King, I was the guy. This is how you wrap a hamburger. This is how you use the cash register. This is how you pocket the fries. And I was in the industrial videos, the training videos.
No way.
So like, you know, like if you got hired at Walmart, I was like the dude stealing the CD in aisle 3, and it was the procedure for the security. So I was like that dude, you know what I mean? So I did a lot of training videos. I did doctor videos where I was the patient, and, you know, doctors would, you know, when you have a patient, this is how you handle the patient. This is how you put the patient in the bed. And I was in a lot of training videos. So I did that at the starting of my career.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, bro. So they used to pay money for that, man. It was crazy. So yeah, they were training videos on, and I did them for everywhere. I did them for, Burger King, Carl's Jr. I did it for, doctor hospitals. I did it for airplanes. When you're on an airplane and you watch the, this is how you put on the seat.
And then you see Noel.
Yeah.
Like this.
And some of the old ones you might have saw me, back then. So, hey, but back then, bro, as crazy as this sounds, no joke, no lie, they were paying $1,000 a day. And you got to remember, bro, back in our days, $1,000 was $1,000.
That was a lot, bro.
Remember when you could make $100 last a month? So you got to think about this, bro. I was getting paid $1,000 back then at the age of 16,
you pay me $1,000
back then. $1,000 today ain't nothing,
bro.
But back then it was like some bankroll. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro. So I was banking. I literally went from nothing to bling bling overnight. Of course, I had some of my curveballs because I didn't know how to spend my money wisely. I didn't know how to invest, stuff like that. One of Mike Tyson's most famous comments that I always repeat. One of his most famous comments is he said, "Rich too soon, smart too late." And that's what happened to me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I pissed a lot of my money away because I wanted to be the baller and do blah, blah, blah. But I made a lot of money back then. And I was a kid getting paid thousands.
But you were young.
And making criminal money in the middle of that.
Shit, so you was really making dough. Yeah. But you were making it quick and spending it fast.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think we don't know what we don't know. Like
I'm don't. Sure. That's what I'm saying. Experience, well, you would hope that experience shapes people up.
But you have to have what is it called, an agent, right? That was helping you out.
Yeah,
and he didn't say like, "Hey, Noel, how about you take some of this money, 50% of this money, and put it over here so we could invest it."
They're not financial advisors. They're just agents. They don't care. As long as they get their 10%, they're straight. You live your life, I live my life. Man, I didn't have that type of relationship with them like that. You know what I mean? It's just as I got older and I started meeting people, you got to remember there was a point in my life, too, where it was funny is because I didn't think that I could talk to anybody unless you were like another gangster because I didn't know how to communicate with people. I didn't know how to talk to white people, black people, Asian people. If you weren't a Mexican gangster with a shaved head, I just didn't know how to talk to you. So that's another thing that acting taught me was, how to create relationships, how to listen to people and talk to people from all different areas of the world. You know what I'm saying? So that was another thing that kind of came into play also because I just didn't know how to talk to you unless you were a street thug.
Yeah, because growing up in that environment, first of all, we don't trust people. Second of all, it's so limited.
Right.
And you don't have these interactions with, especially, well, for me, I come from Huntington Park. It's 99.9 Mexican, and we all look the same.
Right, right.
My first interaction was when I went to college. Like people that don't look like me.
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? You don't have a shaved head like me? Like,
and you got to learn how to adapt. You know what I'm saying? And that's what ended up happening. So, but but again, as you grow older, you learn these things, and then it, what you start doing, you start becoming, and you start learning, and then you know how to, navigate.
So during those 8 years, you said before you got the big role, did you go to acting classes to?
Yeah, I was going to acting classes for a while. I was going to an acting class for a year. And, one thing I learned in acting class is that I was becoming a professional student, not a working actor. So that's kind of what happened, and that was part of the story on how I got an agent. So just to zoom through it real quick. So for 1 year, and I didn't really have that type of money to keep on paying for an acting class, right? Because I was going to it for about a year. And so one day I pulled the teacher aside and I said, "Hey, I got to talk to you after class." He's like, "What's up?" And I said, "Hey, man, you got to teach me how to get a job. I need to get a job. You're teaching me how to act, but you ain't teaching me how to get a job. You got to teach me how to be in a movie or a TV show or something." And I never forget, he goes, "Meet me after class." So I met him after class, and he showed me this book. And you got to remember, in my days, there's no emails, there's no none of that. Back in my days, you had to get a picture, physically put it in an envelope, and mail it off. he had this book. It's called The Agencies. And I remember under 90% of all the agencies in big black bold print, it said absolutely no phone calls or personal deliveries. And my acting teacher told me something that day. He goes, you know what that's really saying? He goes, all that's saying is if you don't think you're good enough, don't walk in their office. So I had to look at it a different way. So what I did was I got that book and I marked down all the same agencies on the same boulevard from lowest address to highest address. And I just walked in their office. I got a bunch of headshots and I just walked in their office and I said, what's up, man? My name's Noel G. I need an agent. And as quick as I walked in, some of them kicked me out and said, you could turn around and you could walk right back out that door. But there were some other agents that said, man, I like your courage, man. That's pretty bold. I can't believe you just did something like that. Let me see what I can do for you. Kid you not, as God is my witness. I remember it like it was yesterday. I came home to my answering machine. I had 17 messages from 17 different agents that wanted to represent me. So I went in there. I got an agent. I got an audition. I got a job. I started becoming an actor. And I had people in the class that were asking me, how do you get in a movie? How do you get in a TV show? And that's because I found myself becoming a professional student instead of a working actor. And so there's a big difference there, you know what I mean? And so that's how that kind of kicked off.
But that's what it takes sometimes.
I just had to use my street tactics. You know, at that time I was real hungry and I wanted it. So I went after it and I made it happen.
How did you feel when you got the call for your first big role was Fast and the Furious?
That was the first big role that, put me on the map and started the roller coaster. Okay. But it was funny because I did a movie before that never got seen. It was called No Mother's Crying, No Baby's Dying. And I'm surprised, too, because it had Ice-T in it. It had Danny Trejo. At that time, we filmed it in Pacoima. But it didn't even make it to Jane's Videos. It didn't even make it to the girl in TJ who sells the DVDs on the blanket. Didn't even go there, bro. Like, it went nowhere. But at the time, I thought, like, this is going to be big, man. You know what I mean? Like, Ice-T, Danny Trejo. Like, how could you go wrong, right? But, yeah, it didn't even make it. But that was my very first movie. I remember I was working at Kmart. That was my longest 9-to-5 job. I was a cash register person at Kmart for 1 year. And I remember I quit working at Kmart for that job because I told them, I said, hey, I got a movie. They looked at me like I was crazy. And I go, no, I really got a movie, but the movie needed me for 1 month. So I was like, I can't be here for a month. I got to go film this movie. They're like, if you leave for a month, you can't come back. I go, I guess I'm not coming back. And I went to go film the movie and it never took flight. So then it was, back to the grind. And then Fast and Furious, ever since Fast and the Furious, very blessed, very thankful. I've never worked a 9-to-5 job since then.
How do you get a call to get casted?
Your agent.
For something like that?
Your agent. Your agent and manager has all the hookups. So the way agents work is they get what they call a breakdown. Uh-huh. And they get this breakdown sheet. So it gives descriptions of the characters of what they're looking for the role of whatever movie it is that they're doing. So long story short, if you're an agent, you'll get a breakdown, what's called a breakdown. It will tell you, Fast and Furious, it's about ABC, yada, 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 whatever, right? This is what the movie's about. And then it will say, these are the characters we need. So it'll be like, Vin Diesel. And it doesn't say Vin Diesel because it didn't say that at the time. Uh-huh. It's a Toretto. We need, bald head, street type guy, whatever. It's Hector. We need, a Mexican cat from the streets of LA who's into street racing. And so the agent will look and be, oh, I got a guy like that. I'm going to send him in for the interview. And then we get part of the script. We act it out in front of the producers and the director. And if they like you, they hire you.
So you have the script in your hand, or you have to memorize it and then perform it for them?
Every audition's different. So, it's best to memorize. But if you have to have the script in your hand and could still pull off an A+ job, then amen and hallelujah.
That's just a trip.
Yeah. It's a whole nother beast, bro. But if I laugh, dog, because if people knew how easy it was to get into acting, people would laugh their butt off. Like nowadays, look how dumb it is. You can go to Burger King tomorrow, throw a register through the window, catch it on tape, and you're famous by tomorrow. Like now, whatever. Like it's just nowadays it's funny. But my point with acting is they'll take anyone. It's so funny in this world, right? You could have murdered someone, did 25 years in prison. You can't go get a job at Walmart, but they'll put you in a movie, pay you $1 million and make you a movie star.
Damn, and that's true.
It's crazy. Acting will take anyone, bro. They don't care. Hollywood will take anyone. And you could have a criminal record and they'll make you a star and pay you a lot of money. But you can't go get a job at Walmart or somewhere decent.
I'm gonna take some fucking
insane,
headshots. I'm gonna show my tattoos on me. Like, if you want some blasted ass fool on any big screen movie, I'm your guy.
And you probably would be. You probably would be, bro. Straight up, dog. You probably would be, bro. Nowadays,
crazy.
if you got that type of money, you can make your own movie and make yourself a star. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of different avenues to go about it.
Because now these platforms, you have an audience and you could do your own shit. Sometimes you don't even need.
Exactly.
And it could just fucking take off.
Exactly. 100,
That's crazy.
100%. It's a whole different beast now, a whole different world now. Now it's just, it's crazy now. It's crazy how it was into how it's changing.
It's crazy. So you get the call, boom, you get the audition, and you get the movie. You get casted for the movie. Like, what was your reaction to it?
Oh, of
like,
course, man.
Shit.
I was excited. I was in disbelief. I'm like, you got the right number. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff. But yeah, no, man, it was really cool. It was a huge blessing in my life. And there was a lot of ignorance back then on my part of, wilding out, acting a fool. Like Mike Tyson said, once again, rich too soon, smart too late. That's what happened to me. And so, I was the dude at the club with the girls and the bottles and the table and the limo and blah, blah, and just doing all that.
Money left and right.
Had a hell of a time. But, don't regret any of it because it made me who I am today. But I'm just saying my only regret is that when I was younger, I wish I would have had someone who spoke into my life, who would have told me how to invest, who would have told me, where to place my money and where not to, and, how to just be a little wiser in what I had at the time.
So now that you are wiser, you're older, you're a man of God, where do you put your money? Like, do you invest in real estate, or is there like a specific thing that you like say, this is where I'm going to invest my money in?
Yeah, no. I mean, if you have the money and you're able to, I always tell people, pay your bills ahead. That's one thing that I do that will relieve a lot of stress. So like if my bill comes in for my phone bill, for example, like $100, I just pay $500. And I got to worry about the phone bill for a while, it's just things like that, like little tips I got, from this guy. But at the same time, when you hear advice from anybody, it's always best to get advice in that same area from several people. And whatever one makes the most sense to you, that's the one that you roll with, and whatever works for you, you know what I mean? So long story short, I just been wise with my money lately on what I do and what I don't do.
Yeah, because
you got to be careful, you got to be careful.
At some point, you work so hard for your money, you're going to have to let your money start working for you. And I think, actors, you guys get a lot of big checks.
I tell people, man, you got to take risks and challenges, you know what I mean? And once you know what your purpose is and you start living in that purpose, that's when things will, be good for you and happy for yourself, because you're living in your purpose. And living in your purpose is what gives people peace of mind. Absolutely. If you don't live in your purpose, you'll never have peace of mind, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you should be doing.
Amen to that. I agree. So going back to the Fast and the Furious movie, so how was that process? Because it was your first big movie.
No, it was crazy.
How was that?
It was like getting paid to party, bro. It was like hanging out, chilling, dog. Like, I was tripping, bro. I caught some child support cases on that movie.
Shit.
But long story short, man, that movie was wild. It was, it was an independent movie at first when we first did it, so we didn't know where it was going or what it was going to do. And, it blew up and it was crazy. I'm not a fan of Fast and the Furious no more, to be honest with you. I'm a fan of the original, but, how do you go from street racing to saving the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, it got too superhero for me. I tell people, if you like Marvel movies or you like superhero movies, then you're still a fan of Fast and the Furious today. But that's not the right for that. You know what I mean?
That
Like
shit
when they went
just
to
went.
space, and I think part 11 is cars underwater. Part 12 is cars meet dinosaurs. Part 13 is no, I'm just playing, but it got too stupid for me, to be honest, man. But you know, the originals I'm a fan of, the first one. And I don't say that just because I'm in the movie. I'll be real. Sometimes I tell people I'm in a movie where the movie sucked, but the check didn't suck. So I'll tell you if I'm in a movie and it sucked. I'll tell you straight up. But I believe Fast and the Furious was a legit good movie, to be honest with you. But so to be a part of that was a blessing. Yeah, it changed my life in many ways. I'm very thankful for it. And, you know, for that to happen, sometimes I'm still in disbelief to this day. Like, wow, you know, but at the time it was an independent movie. And what I love about that movie, too, what a lot of people don't think about, it was one of the first movies ever to put Mexicans, black, white, and Asian people all together in the same film. And it didn't matter because it was for the love of the cars. And so it was one of the first multicultural race movies that broke that barrier. You know, so there's a lot of things in that movie that, you know, to this day stand out and stick out and have kind of changed, you know, some of the movies we have today. But long story short, man, I could talk about Fast and Furious forever because it was a true blessing, and to be able to be a part of that is just an awesome feeling. So,
Yeah, because it blew up.
because, you know, I like when it happened to me, you know, you always say that one line, who would have thunk it, right? I never thought. I was just some street kid hanging out, and sometimes I'm on set and I'm like, dude, I can't believe I'm here. Like they like, I'm really doing this. Like, this is crazy.
And that movie just fucking blew up.
Yeah.
How was your relationship with Paul Walker?
No, he was a good man. Paul Walker, hands down, most humblest, friendliest, coolest cat in the world, bro. He didn't care if you were the one washing windows or the director of the film. He treated everybody the same. I got nothing but love for Paul Walker, man. And what happened to him sucks. It's unfortunate. I wish it didn't happen. But he's still alive in our hearts today. You know, his birthday was just 2 days ago, actually. And I think he would have been 50 or 51 today. But the most coolest, humblest dude in the world, man. I'm very close to his brother, Cody Walker. We talk a lot. And he's the same way. Humble dude, cool cat. But, yeah, the Paul Walker thing, man, that sucks.
Man, rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. It sucks. You know, sometimes life could change so
you
fast. You never know.
You never know, man. And, yeah, you never know. I have a friend who about 2 years ago was in his kitchen and just slipped on a little puddle that was in his kitchen, hit his head, and died. Like, you can die in your own house. You never know. And people don't think about stuff, you know? Like, there's even the stories of where, like, people are at a red light and a tree just falls on their car, you know, and kills them. Like, you never know when you're going to go, bro. Like, I have another friend who just had his dad pass away. They were at a restaurant, had a heart attack right then and there at the restaurant, in front of everyone who was in the restaurant, just passed away like that, like on a split of a dime. So you just never know when you're going to go. And that's why, like, I tell people, you know, God's word says you have to be ready in season and out of season because you don't know when you're going to go. You could die at any moment. And you know who's the most gangster? Is Jesus Christ. He's the most gangster out of everybody because he says it very clear in his word. If you reject me, I will reject you out of the kingdom of heaven. So, I mean, I let people know, bro, like, you just got to, it's a free choice, of course. You know, he gives us free will. You can make that choice or not make that choice. He leaves it up to us to accept or not accept. But that's my message that I'm trying to get out now is I want everybody to go to heaven. And they just got to know, you know, the reason why I chose God is because God just makes sense. You know what I'm saying? When you really get to know him and you get in that personal relationship with him, he just makes sense. So, long story short, man, that's why when you talk about how Paul Walker went and whatever happened, you know, I would hope that people accept God before something like that does happen to them so they know where they're going.
When did you fully accept Jesus into your life?
And I accepted him when I was 15 with the family. But then when Hollywood kicked off, I I saw the short skirts and the partying, and I said, thanks God for giving me what I need. I don't need you no more. I turned my back on them. And then my whole life was wilding out, acting a fool, just living it up. And then in 2008 is when I came back strong. When I said enough is enough. And I was like, now we got to, I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I got my issues like anybody else. But I'm serving him because I know that he is the truth. And, like I said, God is real simple. When you just get to know him, he just makes sense.
What led to that point in 2008 that you were like, okay, I'm doing too much, or I need some changes?
Yeah, I was down and out. I was in a situation where I hurt someone real bad, and I told myself that's not the type of guy that I want to be. So I said, this has to stop. So I said, God, I need you to stop doing this. And that's when I accepted him, because I couldn't do it on my own. I had to do it on his strength, not my own. So that's where there was a change in my lifestyle. And that's how you know someone's real about serving God, is how their lifestyle is, from the transformation from what they once were to what they are now becoming when serving God. When you serve God, there is a change that happens in your lifestyle. It may be a gradual change, a slow change, whatever, but if there's no change, that's where you have to ask, whoever's claiming God, is there really God in your life? Or, are you really serving God? There's a change in the lifestyle. So, like, for example, 2007 and below, I was a male slut. I was a gambler. I was a drinker. I was a smoker. I used to get into a lot of fights. I used to cuss a lot. 2008, accepted God. I was a married man, no longer a male slut. I never walked into a casino, never drank, stopped smoking. I can't say that I didn't cuss. I did cuss, but like 20% instead of 100%. And that was the change in my lifestyle. So when someone truly accepts God, there's a change in your lifestyle. And the reason why a lot of people can't serve God today, to be honest, is because of what they have to give up in their life. And, and that's why the Bible says, like, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, because it's hard to give up what we love as a person in real life to live for God and live with God, to do the things that we know we shouldn't be doing.
That's pretty deep. Yeah, in 2014 I got baptized into the Christian church because I was raised Catholic, and then my wife was like, "Well, I had to make a lot of changes too, man. I was drinking a lot. I was doing a bunch of stupid shit, so I had to make those changes. But I needed to fully be in, So I went to something similar. So I had to stop drinking. I had to stop partying and being with women, and I had to make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's rare when I have a drink, but I try to keep it at a minimum, which is almost it's rare. It's rare when I drink. So yeah, but it was the best thing. It was the best choice to accept Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my mom was Catholic, and then she converted to Christian, and I don't believe in religion. I believe in a personal relationship with God, because when we stand before God, it's not going to be you and a priest. It's not going to be you and mommy and daddy. It's not going to be you and your best friend. It's going to be you by yourself, and you have to answer for yourself. That's why it's a personal relationship. So I don't believe in religion at all. And again, Christianity, and when I got to know God, it just made more sense than anything else. So that's why I decided to go that way.
So how did after 2008, just everything started changing, because you were just a complete different person.
Correct. Yeah.
But
I knew God before that, when I was 15, and there's just things that you change in your life that would make your testimony a lot stronger if you were keeping certain things out of your life. It would just, when you're walking with God, you try your best to do things that don't put you in question of God, So, but that's why it's a personal relationship, There's some things that you could tell a certain Christian that you can't tell another Christian because you don't know where they're at in their walk, because I had all these questions when I always tell people this. You know what the stupidest question is? It's the one that you don't ask. That's the stupidest question you can ask, is the one that you don't ask. If you don't know something, you got to ask, you know what I'm saying? So when I got saved, I had a million questions. I said, why is drinking a sin? Why is smoking a sin? Why is that a sin? Why is this a sin? Why is that a sin? Like I had 1,000 million questions, What do you think about UFOs? What do you think about dinosaurs? Like I just had a million questions, right? And because I want to know, like, what does the Bible say about this? What does it say about that? Like everything, you know what I mean? And I always tell people I'm at a point now where my opinion doesn't matter. My opinion does. I only have one opinion. My one opinion is that the Bible is real. After that, I have no opinions left. It's what the Bible says. You know what I mean? And so that's how I roll. But I just think it's funny because as I started getting the answers to some of my questions is what I'm getting at, then it just made sense. And I started realizing like, oh, wow, like, and I think when you I don't know the best way to say this. When you have enough quote unquote knowledge of right from wrong and you hear God's answers and you can distinguish the truth from a lie, it will just make sense to you too. And that's why it's a personal relationship. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like with the drinking thing, I'll be real. This is the answer I got that just made sense to me. There's a lot of things in the drinking, right? So drinking is a sin when it starts influencing you to do things that you would not normally do because now you're under the influence of a substance. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If drinking is abused, it's a sin, but some of these things you can't tell a certain Christian because they go, oh, you said I could drink. No, I didn't say you can drink. I'm saying that if it's abused and it starts influencing your thoughts and your decisions and it starts helping you to do things that you wouldn't normally do while you're sober, that's the sin. But if I'm with my wife and I just want to have one glass of wine with my wife over a romantic dinner, that's not a sin. You get what I'm saying? Yes. It's when it starts being abused, when it starts influencing you to do things that you wouldn't normally do, it starts changing your thought process. That's when it becomes a sin. But then there's the other catch. If you got a problem with drinking and I don't, I'm not allowed as a Christian to drink in front of you because I'm putting temptation in front of your face. Damn. You understand what I'm saying? So these are things that you just have to, but you don't know any of that until you know God to know that. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So that's why even God himself says, you were better off sinning without the knowledge of me. Because once you have the knowledge and you know right from wrong, but you still do wrong knowing right, that's when you're accountable for what you did because you knew better. So what I'm saying is, once you start getting to know God and you really break him down, it's people who complicate him. He's real simple. You know what I'm saying? To understand. So when I heard it that way, and like that's what I heard a pastor say, he goes, I'll never drink in front of my congregation, because not my pastor, I'm talking about another pastor, but every pastor's different. But he's like, I'll never drink in front of my congregation because, pastor drinks so I can drink. No, that's not, I don't abuse it. You get what I'm saying? All the reasons I said or whatever. So, and that's why, once again, it's a personal relationship. That's between you and God, and God, once you start getting to know God and you truly accept him as your father/creator, as you truly accept that, God himself will tell you what to do. And God himself will tell me what to do. And he'll tell you what your sin is. And he'll tell me what my sin is. And he'll correct me as correction is needed. And he'll correct you as correction is needed. And from God himself, you'll hear it. And you'll know what you're supposed to be doing and not doing. Make sense?
Yes.
And that's why it's a personal relationship. But until you get to know him, you can't hear from him and you don't understand what's going on because you haven't got to know him yet to know what he's trying to tell you.
I drank a beer on Saturday, and I swear I felt like it was like, son,
You ain't got to answer to me, but I'll give you.
Don't do it, son.
Hey,
you know,
you ain't got to answer to me because I ain't God. But I'll tell you this much though, that right there is the conviction inside of you, and that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Conviction it's when you do it and don't feel guilty about it. That's where you got to worry. But because you had that guilt of drinking a beer, you know what that tells me already? It tells me that you're connected to your father, and your father is telling you something because he knows better for you as a father. You just got to listen now.
And I did, because I was going to go for a second one. And something, I don't know, it was just weird.
That's like, God working inside of you, bro.
I said no.
Yeah, that's God working inside of you. That's all
let's
that
go.
is.
Like, we got to go home to our kids.
And that's
exactly what I did, bro.
That's why God is so simple. He's like, as a father, he's like, don't go to the bar, because you know when you go to the bar, you're gonna have a drink. So it's best just to stay away from there and not do what you know you shouldn't be doing. Don't go to that one girl's house, because you know if you go over there, it's gonna be on. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then us as a child, we make the decision. We listen to our father or not.
You're right. So this type of now that you've accepted Jesus and you think this way and you process things this way, how is your relationship with your homies from like your hood that you grew up with?
I never forget, bro. I love all my homies, man. The ones who kept their head on right, you know what I'm saying? I still got relationships with a lot of my homeboys from my hood. It was funny, so when I changed, you know, some of the homies were like, oh, dude, like, you're tripping, man. Like, what do you mean you don't want to do this, that, and the other? And, but this is what I've learned. I told my homies straight up like this, man to man, face to face. I said, hey, check this out, dog. I go, you really want to know why I changed? Like, honestly, you really want to know? I said, come tomorrow, let's meet at Starbucks, bro, and I'll really share it with you, what you're asking. But I go, where we're at now, it's not the right time because we're in the middle of all this. I go, it's not the right time to answer. But I said, if you really want a one-on-one and you really want to know the honest truth of why I changed, I go, come to Starbucks tomorrow. We'll have a Starbucks and I'll really break it down to you. And then I would just tell him. I would say, this is the real reason why I changed, bro. And you have to have that heart-to-heart moment to have a place of understanding. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I would let them know, like, hey, look, man, you're still my homeboy. You're invited to my house. You could come over anytime. If you're ever in trouble, I'm there for you, et cetera, et cetera. Come over for dinner, whatever. But I said, now because of this, I just no longer want to do the things that we used to do together, because that puts me in temptation or puts me in sin of what I know I shouldn't be doing for him. So it's nothing against you at all in any shape or form. If you want to go to Knott's Berry Farm, if you want to go to Disneyland, Universal Studios with the family, if you want to come over and just have dinner, we could do that because you're still my friend. Nothing changed there. But as far as participating in some activities that we used to do, I'm done there. And that's how you got to tell them straight up.
So there's no...
Because you make it clear. You make it clear, man. I'm no better than you because I used to be you. So I just want to change my life now and get on the right path.
So the ones that don't share the same values and the same energy that you do, you just keep them at a arm's length?
No. Once again, they're still my homies and they're my friends or whatever. I just don't participate in the activities that we used to do together. If it's a different type of activity where there's no temptation or sin involved, let's roll. Let's go. You know, and then, you know what's up. If your friend is still acting a fool and wilding out and you're trying to be a family man, you can't mix the two.
Hell nah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to be like, man.
It's decision time.
Yeah, I ain't trying to do that. But if you want to go bowling.
Yeah, exactly.
With the kids, hit me up.
Yeah, you're still a homie. But you got to find a new ride or die partner for the club and the drinking and all that stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. That's good. So after Fast and the Furious, did that open up more opportunities for acting?
Like I said earlier, it started the roller coaster ride. And, that's when things got a little crazy. You know what I mean? But
so you were popping.
Yeah. But again, it the way I say it is it was a true blessing, a life-changing experience, and something I'll always be grateful for. But it will never let me not remember who I am and where I come from.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we have to always, I always drive by Huntington Park. I still go to the same spots that I used to go as a kid. Same burger spots, same everything.
Yeah, I stay out of my area, to be honest, because I just don't want to get caught up in some, whatever. I did go back in the early days, but some of them were still acting a fool and acting like I owed them money because now, quote unquote. And I was like, man, you guys are acting stupid. I'm like, I'm done. And that's why I'm friends with a lot of my older cats and even my older homies, man. We don't go back to the hood. You know why? Because there's no business there.
Yeah.
That's it. And a lot of the youngsters, I don't even know who they are anyways.
Yeah. And then
I trip out, man. I trip out because I had so many homies who got shot. And I'm like, if they knew what they died for, like, they would be they would be enraged today if they were alive. Like, it's lame, dude. It's lame.
Big time.
At the time, we didn't know any better and we didn't think so. And you got to, whatever. But, yeah, it's just whack.
I think at the time we didn't know. You're right. We didn't know any better. That was normal.
Yeah, we just didn't see, the light or whatever ahead. And, sometimes I think, damn, man, like, I really am blessed, bro, that I live because I've been shot at. I've been, in some brawls, and I'm lucky. I never got, stabbed. I never got shot, but I survived, some of the worst, and I just thank God every day for that because I'm like, man, like, it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy. Like, I just thank God for that I lived through some of those moments,
It's a blessing, brother.
To
go through all that and then to be doing what you love to do and to be in the position to do certain things.
And that's why now, I try to talk to as many as I can and, people could listen or throw my advice in the trash. They make the choice, but I try to help and give back and let as many people know, like, what has worked for me respectfully is God by keeping me in alignment. Again, I'm not perfect. I still mess up. I got a divorce in 2015, and that was a real hard point in my life that took me backwards a little bit. I backslid, and I'm coming out of that now. And that took me on a real roller coaster ride. But long story short, man, it's us who leave God. God never leaves us. And that's why we need God. We can't do it on our own strength. We could do it only on God's strength. I tell people there's a 4-step process. I tell people this is the best way to keep yourself as right can be. I tell people at first, do it like this. At first, don't even trust God. I'm telling you straight up, don't even trust God. Just get to know him. And once you get to know him, you'll start to trust him. And what do you do when you start trusting someone for reals? You start having love for that person. And then when you start having love for that person, you eventually fall in love with that person. And what do you do when you genuinely love someone? A real homeboy or your wife or whoever. You don't want to hurt who you love. So when you fall in love with God, that's what keeps you straight, because you know that whatever you do behind closed doors or whatever, not only now are you hurting yourself, you're hurting who you love. But right now, when you're doing whatever you're doing without loving God, you don't care what you're doing because you're not hurting no one, you think, except yourself or whatever. So that's why I tell people, don't even trust God. Don't even trust him. Just get to know him. And as you get to know him, you'll start to trust him. And then once you start trusting him, you'll start having love for him. And eventually you'll fall in love with him. And that's what will keep you right. That's what will keep you from sinning. Because now you don't want to hurt who you love.
Amen to that, brother. So what's in the works for you now?
Now we're in the middle of the strike. So we're dealing with that. But long story short, kind of just doing a lot of events, car shows, conventions, things like that. We're in the middle of a documentary with Michael Francis, actually, We got some movies that are in the works, some projects that, are ahead. And then just doing skits with Jay Valentino. I got to give my boy Jay Valentino a shout out, bro. Thank you for today, bro. But that's my boy right there. But yeah, Concrete, that's my other boy. But
Those dudes are funny.
Long story short, I got some projects that are in the mix, but because of the strike, we're limited on what we can and can't say. But I got some things that are cooking in the kitchen.
So this strike, is it like, what exactly is the strike about?
That's a long story, but
It's too deep.
no, I mean, it's whatever. But the short story, as crazy as it sounds, as ludicrous as it sounds, but this is the real honest to God truth, man, is they want robots to take over. This AI stuff, it's just how it works.
Shit.
So basically they can make you, put you in a movie, but it's not you, it's a computerized you. And why am I paying you? You didn't do it.
Oh, hell fucking no.
So that's,
Excuse my
nah, that's all, I don't care. So that's how they, that's how they do it.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
This
So
AI
basically, like, they found a way to, like, save serious money. So, for example, you know how they do, like, crowd scenes or baseball stadium scenes or something like that? So let's just, for example, let me give you a small example. You'll get it like this. So say they're doing a baseball scene and they got the audience, right? Well, all the audience members know that they're part of a movie. They got speakers, of course, and they're filming a movie. So they're told when to applause, when to do the wave, et cetera, right? But those are all real people. So they got to get paid for their time. So you got to pay every person $100, $150. That's a lot of money when you got, 5,000 people in the stands, right? Well, guess what I just did for you? I found a way to save you that big bill. I can computerize all those people for you. And now you don't got to pay nobody. So I just saved you a $100,000 bill. So hell yeah, I'm going to jump on that because you just saved me money. And that's what they're doing. Now they're like, man, we don't even need to use actors. I could just computerize an actor, use the actor, and not pay you. So it takes out residuals. It takes out everything. So that's what we're fighting for. That's literally what they're doing. It's, dude, the bottom line, man, it's all about power, money, control, and greed. That's really what the bottom line. If you want to hit the heart of it, that's what it's all about. And that's where this world is going. I mean, the Bible talks about this. This is nothing surprising to me, man. I mean, it's going to get worse and worse, and people don't understand that. And that's why Revelation speaks about everything that's happening today. The bottom line is we lost the foundation of God. We lost discipline in this world. And because we lost the discipline in this world, that's why we have the chaos that we have today. And it's going to get more chaotic, man. People are going to become more wicked. The love is going to grow colder. People are going to care less. Neighbors are going to fight with neighbors. Family's going to fight with family. Friends are going to fight with friends because everyone's going to become selfish and about themselves. And all of that is happening because there's no God in this world. We are losing the word of God. That's really the bottom line, man. If you want to hit home.
And that's facts right there.
Yeah, if you want to hit home, I'm just saying. And that's why, Bible is very clear. Work out your own salvation. You can follow the crowd or you can follow God, the man. You can follow men or the man himself.
Like, how long do you guys think this strike is going to go on for? It could go on for a while.
I mean, there's no telling that.
So until then, no actors could.
Yeah, right now it's and what do you? And that's the whole point, So bills ain't gonna pay themselves. What do you do in between? It was funny, man. I'll give you a quick short story.
This is crazy.
I called Verizon the other day because I'm with Verizon, and I'm old school cat. I like to physically talk to someone. I like to physically talk to someone on the phone. So I'm that guy who pushes operator, like whatever, right?
0, 0,
Yeah,
0.
I'm that dude, right? So finally I get someone on the line after like 5-10 minutes of waiting. The first thing she tells me when she hits the line, she goes, to quicken up the process, you can use the automated system. And I said, yeah. But I go, I'm old school. I like to talk to someone, physically and just know that it's done right. And she goes, well, if you use the automated system, I'm just letting you know you could save 30% on your phone bill. And I said, oh, cool. I said, yeah, but I just like to talk. But as she directed me to the automated system like 4 times. Kid you not, right? And this is how ignorant society has become. As she started keep on directing me to the automated system, I go, you're going to wonder why you're sitting in your house in your living room without a job, because you directed everybody to the automated system and now they don't need live people no more.
And what did she say?
She paused and she, whatever, but I'm just making a point. Like, that's where our world's coming to. People are so ignorant. They're sheep and they're just following following the line. They're just, you know what I mean? It's like Walmart with these self-checkouts. Like, the computer is like a blessing and a curse at the same time. Yeah, it is a blessing for a lot of reasons, but it's also a curse that's cursing us. So it's just, that's where our world's headed, bro, because, it's all about gimmicks and trying to. And
that's across all industries.
Yeah, and it's just getting worse and worse. I mean, just the other day, I was at the airport because I travel a lot. And they have this store now. It's like a liquor store. Not a liquor store, I always say that, but that's a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven, right? You walk in. They have it now where you use your credit card to scan the top of the thing. The thing opens up. All you have to do is grab your products, put it in a bag, and walk out. And it knows what you took in the bag when you walk out, and it charges you because you scanned your credit card before you walked in. Just like that. And there was a worker there, and it was funny. And I go, what do they need you for? Now that this is happening like this. And she goes, I'm only here for one thing, to keep on stocking up what's taken.
Damn.
And I go, that's why there's only one worker at this. And she goes, yeah. So you just got rid of 10 employees right there.
And it's only going to get fucking worse.
It's going to get worse. Because, what are people going to do once they can't pay their bills and they need to eat? They're not going to rob you for money. They're going to rob you for a cheeseburger.
That's true. People got to eat.
And the Bible says, it's the manipulation. So like the cashless society and all this, the chip, right? This is what people don't understand about the chip. It's a form of control, because if you have the chip in you that works as a quote unquote credit card, but here's the catch. If you don't comply with the government and you don't do what the government tells you to do, I could just turn your chip off. So now when you go to use your chip as a credit card, you're turned off because you didn't comply with the government and whatever it is that they're telling you to do. So now you can't even buy a cheeseburger. You can't buy food. And the Bible says very clearly that when you accept the mark of the beast, you will no longer be able to do business or buy food in the world or do any transactions of any kind. So where's the manipulation, though? The manipulation is, if I put a chip inside of you, look at the possibilities that will happen, though. People will stop robbing each other because now someone can't come up to you and take a $20 bill and go use it. I can't cut off your hand and walk around with your hand and use it as a credit card. So this is going to eliminate robbery. Oh, but guess what else is a great thing? If your kid gets kidnapped and there's a chip in your kid, we know exactly where to go find your kid.
We can locate them
locate them right away. But they're caught up under the manipulation part of, if you don't comply with what the government says and tells you to do, I could just turn you off. And it's like, you're not alive in this world. So that puts you under control. Because what are you going to do? You're, of course, going to do what they say so they could turn you back on so you could So you can eat. And when it hits kids and it hits homes, it's going to that's where the world's headed, bro. I'm telling you straight up.
And I think you're right. Say we got to.
Well, I'm not right. The Bible's right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to tell people, man, like, they could look at me like I'm crazy. They could think whatever they want. But, this is a joke, but not a joke, and I hope it doesn't become true. You know who's going to get the last laugh? Are the people in heaven. I don't want to say it like that's a joke, but just to make you get it. That's who's going to get the last laugh. So, we're being backed up into a corner where you got to make a decision, God or the world. This whole thing, COVID, they're not even hiding it no more. 6 feet apart, 666. I mean, it's blatantly in our faces, bro. A mask, all that means is shut up. You got no voice. We don't want to hear what you say. You're not worthy of talking. You're not worthy of being seen. Who cares what you have to say? A mask puts you in a place of darkness. I'm telling you, bro, like all these things, like it's out there. It's in our face. Like the devil doesn't care anymore. It's in our face. And people are still falling in the trap, still falling in the trap, still falling in the trap. And the Bible's very clear. The Bible says very clearly, if you do not know the truth of God, you will be manipulated, you will be deceived.
And it's out there in the open. Huh?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just be like, what in the hell is going on?
It's the foundation of God being lost is what's going on. That's it, bottom line. The word of God being lost, because God told the devil he can have the world. He said, you can have it. The devil will be the ruler of this world. And that's just how it is. So what does the devil want? He wants control. He wants to control everything. He wants to, that's it, take you down with them.
Create fucking chaos, craziness. That's real. That's some real stuff right there. Shit, that's kind of deep. This is good. This is good stuff. Yeah, there's some things we want to ask you after. But
No,
man,
it's all love,
brother,
man. I thank you guys for having me, bro.
dude, it's such a privilege to have you on, brother, and we really appreciate you.
Wait, you have to ask him this. Do you ever get tired of people calling you Hector?
Oh, yeah, I know, right? That's
Now, how
funny,
many
bro.
times do you walk out of your house and go into, I don't know, McDonald's, Carl's Jr., and somebody calls you Hector?
I'll be real with you, bro. I'm starting to think Hector is my real name. Straight up. I'm about to go to the DMV and change it, dog. No, it's all love, man. I know. Nah, every time I get called Hector, that's one of the blessings, It's funny, like, there's things that are said to me sometimes that I never leave the house, and I never, ever, not hear, like the monkey in the butt.
Oh, shit. Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
The 3-spoon engines, all that stuff. It's like a curse and a blessing at the same time with that one too. It's a blessing because how awesome can I do something from a long time ago still be remembered to this day? But then it's a curse because I hear it every day and it makes me crazy. So,
Hector, like, fool, my name's Noel.
But it's all love. I do my best every time someone tells me it to act like I heard it for the first time, even though I heard it a million times. So, yeah.
How was it now that, training day? How was it being a part of that cast?
No, it was hella cool.
That's just dope, bro.
Yeah. No, it was hella cool, man. It was, I liked it, man, because the director was real hands-on and, gave us a lot of freedom, with the scene to be able to take it to the next level. And real good director, Anton Fuqua, man, shout out to you, bro. Gave us a lot of love, man. And to make that scene come together, that was hella cool.
Yeah. I was watching it earlier.
I like Training Day. Like, there's a good one. Like, I put that in the Scarface, Goodfellas, Casino, category. You know what I mean?
That's a classic, dog.
Yeah. So to be a part of that, like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's a trip in my life to be so blessed to be a part of, such things that have, changed my life and opened up my eyes in a lot of ways. And, made me realize a lot of things too.
But in that movie, you didn't get to work with Denzel.
No, not really. I just had that small little scene with
Yeah.
him when he drops him off and walks out. So it's not like we really worked, but I was on set and I saw Denzel work, and seeing him work and the way he prepares was awesome.
Really?
Taught me a lot. I said, what? There's no better teacher than being on the field itself. You can whatever, but when you're on the field and you're seeing it right in front of your face, I'm just saying there's no better teacher than that. The experience will always be your best teacher. That's the way to say it.
Which one would you say it's your favorite role or movie that you've been a part of?
The one that paid the most, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That would probably be my favorite one too.
Right. I had to put some halls. I can't believe I lost my voice, man, today when we're doing.
It's all good, brother. It's still
Yeah,
good.
like-
We still.
Yeah. My voice has been happening for a while now, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't have. I would say maybe Fast and the Furious, because that was the first, and like I said, it was like getting paid to party and hanging out, chilling, and
Getting paid to party, hang out with the homies, and
yeah,
get
it
a
was
fat
like
ass check.
we were laughing, bro. Like when we were on set, seriously, we were like, there were like moments where like we couldn't believe we were getting paid for this, you know, kicking it. We're like, dude, like, yeah, it was crazy.
And with those movies, you still get checks every time it gets played, or how does that work?
Yeah, I still get checks to this day, but they're very small now. You know, of course, they're bigger when it first comes out because that's when everybody's renting and buying it. But as they've seen it, they're not renting and buying it like they were at the starting. So now it's just lunch money, you know.
But it's still coming in from all the movies.
Yeah, but it's lunch money. It ain't nothing, bro. But no, back then it was like, damn. I was like, this in my name. I was like, oh hell no. Like, I'm gonna get a new car. Like, yeah, back then it was crazy. But no, now it's maybe a Happy Meal at McDonald's. Yeah, it's not in.
Hey, fucking Happy Meal McDonald's expensive now.
Yeah, no,
That shit.
I still eat Mickey D's, bro. I ain't lying, bro. There's nothing that I always say my best meal is an In-N-Out cheeseburger with McDonald's French fries. That's
Those French fries are bomb, bro.
I know, that's my meal.
Those
right there.
shits are bomb, bro.
I remember in Disneyland, bro, it was funny. In Disneyland, they had a cart that sold nothing but just McDonald's French fries. I don't know why they took it out, but it was back in the early days. I used to go to Disneyland a lot, and I used to get them, bro. McDonald's French fries.
So every now and then I eat McDonald's, but I eat McDonald's because of the French fries.
Yeah, the French fries.
Supersize that,
No,
bro.
They're bomb, dude.
With
Straight
the
up.
ranch and then the ketchup. I fill it up with ketchup.
You're all up in it.
I love French fries, bro.
You're all up in it.
Yeah, hell yeah. And those French fries are bomb, bro. This is good. This is good stuff, man. So I was looking forward to it, brother.
No, it's all
I
love,
know,
man. Yeah,
you
thank
know,
you for having
so
me. Thanks for shout out to Jay Valentino for bringing me on, and that's my boy. You know, the best thing about any business period, no matter what it is you do, is personal relationship.
Yes.
And so yeah, man. Thanks for having me, and Jay Valentino once again. Thanks for getting me out here, bro.
Let's end it with this.
And much love.
What advice would you give to a upcoming actor that's trying to get in the trenches right now?
I would tell people, don't quit, take risks and take challenges. I always think about if I would have quitted on that seventh year, I would have said it's too hard. It's not working out. I'm not making it. It's just not going down for me. I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But I kept on pushing through. And on the 8th year, I finally got my first movie. So I tell people, don't quit, man, and keep on moving forward. But I also say this behind that, though. A lot of people, I think when people say don't quit, never give up, it's kind of a cliche because that's cool. You said don't quit, never give up. Okay, yeah, I get that. But let me throw something behind that. You know how people advance in life? It's just by being a person of integrity. When you're a person of integrity and you do what it is that you say you're going to do, people just like you and want to do favors for you because you're someone of integrity and someone that they can trust. I learned something, bro. When you're one of these people and you come to work and you go like this, dude, I'm sorry I'm late. Hey, I'm sorry I forgot to get that microphone you needed. I'm sorry I forgot my laptop. I'm sorry I forgot to make that call you told me to make. You just become a sorry worker. And no one wants to work with sorry workers. They want to work with problem solvers. And so that's why I tell people, man, like the way to progress forward is be a person of integrity. If someone comes at you and says, hey, man, can you do A, B, and C? Be straight up and straight out and tell them, go, hey, look, man, my strength is in A and B. I could do A and B all day long, but C, I just can't do it. That's not my strength. That's not my area. I wouldn't even know how to go about that. But A and B, that's my cup of tea. That I can do. And people will respect you more for you being honest and upfront, saying, cool, man, I'll find someone else for C, but you do A and B for me. And if you really do it and you come through and people like you because you're that person of integrity and honesty, that's how you advance in life. So I tell people, you got to prove yourself first. You know what I'm saying? You got to work your way up in the game. But if you could be a person of integrity and not give up and keep on pushing through, that's how you make it in life, man. Because when people just like you and they know they can trust you and you're someone of integrity, people just want to do favors for you. People just like you, man. Man, you're a good dude, man. You did this, you did that, you proved yourself. Like, now I'm going to take you from this to that, and that's how it happens, bro. So I worked at a convalescent home, and I never forget this, and I'll end with this. I worked at a convalescent home when I was like 20 years old. And they did a survey. They asked everybody over 65 years old, if you could go back and change something about your life, what would you have done differently? And over 83% of the convalescent home said I would have took more risks and more challenges in my life, because now they're 65 and older wondering, could have I owned that business? Could have I started that clothing line? Could have I become that sports athlete? Could have I become that doctor? Because they didn't take risks and challenges in their life when they were younger. So I tell people, man, you got to go out there and take risks. You got to go out there and take challenges. You have people around you that are successful. You need to ask questions. Ask the questions. Like I said, the stupidest question is one you don't ask, you know? So if you see someone doing something, hey, man, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? What advice can you give me? And I could go on and on and on, but that's, you know, we've been here for a while, but that's what I would tell people who want to be actors, man, is, you know, don't give up and never quit, but be someone of integrity, and people will just, you know, and my last words would be, you know, put God first in everything you do, and the rest will work itself out.
Amen to that. And that's how we're going to end it. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you for being here, and we're looking forward to your next projects, man.
All love, man. You guys know what it is. True Hustle Podcast in the house. Support them. Keep on watching all their shows, man. They got more heat coming for you. That's what's up, Noel G, Hector. And when you watch their show, make sure you do it Fast and Furious style. You heard?
Hey!